Welcome to What You're Making, a podcast about sharing ideas and connecting with the maker community. Your hosts are Alex Adams, engineer turned furniture maker of Type A furniture, and an alien pretending to be a woodworker, Alex Duffey of Duffey Woodcraft. What You're Making is proudly sponsored by Next Wave CNC.
Hey, welcome to What You're Making, a podcast where we talk all about what's on our bench, spotlight makers throughout the community, and remind you that March 18th is National Awkward Day. Enough said. Tonight's main topic is all about router bits. I'm Alex Duffey, and you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube at Duffey Woodcraft.
And I am Alex over at Type A Furniture. And how many different intros does that add up to now that we've used?
We've cycled back through the first song with the new songs.
Okay.
But I did make 8 of them.
Wonderful. It's hard for me to keep up now because it's like I don't know which one to expect, so it's just like playing roulette with intro music.
Yep. You'll never know what you're going to get.
Well, yeah. Well, if you enjoy Mr. Duffey changing the intro music every single time, and you enjoy the show, you can support the show by going to patreon.com/whatyourmakingshow and join any of the various tiers starting at $5.
And What You're Making is proudly sponsored by Next Wave CNC. If you're looking for the best CNC on the market today, look no further than a Shark CNC from Next Wave. 100% American made in Perrysburg, Ohio. Next Wave is the leader in desktop CNCs with sizes from a 1x1 up to 4x4. You'll find the machine that's right for your shop. So, for those who are watching on YouTube, you already guessed that we have a special guest, but for those who are not, let me welcome Logan from Newman Special Woodworks.
He's the only guy here with a beard.
Well, give me a couple weeks and I won't have it.
He brings the facial hair up in our group.
You know, I only grow it for a little while. After winter's over, it's gone.
That's fair.
So, Logan, for those who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am a full-time high school teacher. I teach kids to make eyeglasses. I don't teach woodworking. I did have a woodworking club that I just haven't had a chance to do lately. I teach kids to make eyeglasses, and I get eye doctors to volunteer so that we give free eye exams to kids in our district. And then we give the glasses out for free. Quick background information, story. I graduated high school. I went to the Navy. I was supposed to become an operating room technician after my medic training. And they said, well, that's filled up. You have to pick something else. So they gave me 3 choices. And I said, I don't like any of those choices. Can I please choose something else? And they said, no. I said, but the Marines need medics, and I would like to go do that. And they said, all right, make a choice, or we will make one of these 3 choices for you. So I got trained to be an optician, where I learned how to make glasses. I worked with patients. I did a whole bunch of different stuff, and I got a associate's degree in opticianry from the local community college. And then I got out of the Navy, and originally I was going to become an optometrist, and I got bored. I was like, I did an internship, and I sat there falling asleep, and I was like, I can't do this. So I went back to school, became a teacher. I taught biology, moved to Rochester, New York, and for about 10 years, I was teaching bio. And then in my 11th year, I had the opportunity to start a program teaching kids to make glasses. So I did that, and I've been doing it for 13 years. And It's pretty cool. Like I absolutely love my job. I've got 5 years till I retire, and I'm not saying I'm counting down, but I'm very excited to retire from teaching. But it has been a very fulfilling and rewarding career. Today, I gave a pair of glasses to a kid who's 11th or 12th grade, tall kid, never wore glasses before. And watching the look on his face when he's looking at a box that just says Staples on it, and he's putting the glasses on and taking them down, and he said, even the colors are brighter. This is amazing. I love doing that stuff. And so tomorrow we'll go to one of the elementary schools in our district. I have a doctor who's going to meet us there. He's volunteering his time. We're going to see about 20 kids there. We'll get prescriptions and we'll make them and then bring them back and give them out. So I love that stuff. The other part about that is, I've always been a tinkerer. I've always sort of played around. So Newman Specials itself was born probably about 10 years ago. I came up with a name because I had a bunch of cutting boards, and I think I put them either on Etsy, or if Facebook Marketplace was a thing back there, I put them out. And this woman saw my stuff and she said, hey, I'd like to buy some of your cutting boards. Can you just come show them to me in person? We can meet up at this. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Wegmans. It's a big, yeah. So,
rings a bell.
Yeah, so it's big around here Northeast. She's like, we can meet at Wegmans. Let me go through what you have. We'll look in the parking lot. So she looks through the stuff. She goes, these are beautiful. I run part of, I don't remember if she ran the whole thing or whatever it was, but it was called Sonnenberg Arts at the Gardens. And Sonnenberg Gardens is this really beautiful location. And every year they have a juried art show. And she said, hey, I would love for you to apply. I think you'd be a great fit there. So I applied. It said I needed a tax ID. And since I needed a tax ID, I needed a name. And I always love telling this story because I think it's funny how the name Newman Specials came about. I was like, I don't know. Am I going to call it Logan Woodworks? Newman Wood? I wanted something kind of neat. So I was remembering something else that happened at that time too. So I said, I had a friend of mine who helped us move from our apartment to our house. And in our apartment was this table, this desk that I had made that was 2x4 and plywood, and it had built on each other. And it was a Franken desk. It really was. It was just different parts of different things. And he walked in and he goes, what the hell is this? A Newman Special? I was like, okay. So then when we got to the new house, there was like a 2x4 as a handrail. And he goes, oh, look, it's another Newman Special. You already here? So when I had to come up with a name, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call it Newman Specials because I know what I used to build and I know what I'm building now. So that started Newman Specials. And then, I got on Instagram. And one of the things I always find really, really interesting is that when I got on Instagram, I was like, okay, everybody's going to see this great furniture that I make. They're going to love these interesting designs. They're going to love how I come up with this stuff. And this is going to be my jam. I'm going to be, somebody with furniture. And, if you look at my stuff now, I don't even know the last time I built a piece of furniture. Well, I know when I built a piece of furniture, but really like half of my feed has nothing to do with building furniture or anything. It's very different. And it always surprises me how your life and everything changes. So teach high school full-time. I woodwork and run a business almost completely full-time. And in between that, I like to try and get some sleep. It doesn't happen often.
I was going to say, it sounds like sleep is optional.
Going back to the high school teaching thing, I gotta say that is so interesting that you teach building glasses, like especially in a world today where woodworking and art and everything is getting cut out of schools. Something so specialized as glasses, it was definitely something that wasn't in my high school, and I was in a very large high school. But that is really cool that it's part of it, and the fact that you guys are using it to then give glasses to people who don't have them or don't have access to them. It's just
So
incredible.
the way it started was one of my friends that I call him an idea guy. This guy he's a genius, genius level, but he sees problems. He's like, this is what we need to do to fix it. So it was actually around 2008. He had a kid in his class. The kid needed glasses. He recognized early on. The kid didn't get glasses till like mid-February. And he knew that I had been an optician in the Navy. And he said, Logan, I want to see you teaching kids to make glasses for other kids. And I said, Paul, it's a great idea. The problem is that everybody's paying money for kids to go to college. They're not building these trade programs. We're not going to get money. He says, if I get money, will you build a program? I was like, of course. So he happened to be in the right place at the right time. And somebody said to him, hey, we have an opportunity for this much money. Do you have any ideas? He said, I want to see high school kids making glasses for high school kids. They said, write it up and we'll see if we can get it approved. And then he came to me and said, hey, I got your money. Can you do it? So our school so we are just a regular high school. We've got an IT program. We've got a teaching and learning institute where kids go through 4 years, and in their senior year, they go and do internships, co-teaching in a class, as an aide. We've got a great culinary institute. A couple years ago, we started a medical where the teacher teaches kids phlebotomy and how to draw blood. We've got another optics program that Rochester, where I am, Rochester, New York, is one of the 2 largest areas for precision glass engineering in the United States. The other one is Phoenix, Arizona. So he learned how from this. Like, he was talking to his optometrist who said, hey, everybody needs glasses. This is in high need. However, Rochester is known for this. And so he learned how to do it. He teaches kids this, and they make glass Rochester makes lenses and glass for the telescope. The Hubble Space Telescope was built here. There's a telescope in, I think, Argentina, where the lenses were made here. I mean, all over. And then now we have a home repair and maintenance class. And the guy who's teaching that, top notch, like, they wanted me to teach it. And I talked my way out of it because it would have taken time away from me. Because what I do is not just teach kids to make glasses. Every other day, I literally go to every school that needs me in the district, and I fix kids' glasses. I fit them for new glasses. I give out glasses. So every other day, I'm driving 2.5, 3 hours to schools. And if I did that class, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And that, to me, is really, really important. Mm-hmm. But the guy who's teaching, oh my God, at the end of last year, he had the kids, they had made a floor. I think it was 4x4, 5x5. They'd walled it in, drywall, electric, copper, plumbing, right? A window, painted, toilet, to the point where they had running water, and he flushed the toilet. So he had them doing all of this. So yeah, like, if I had taught it, I'd teach them woodworking. He is a much better person for this, and the kids are learning so much from it. So it's amazing, and we've got a lot of great programs, and we're lucky. Right. And it's getting back to that. There's a lot more of that.
Yeah, I think our high school, I know they did it when I was in high school. I think they still do it, where they have basically, it's people who have gone through certain curriculum that essentially 1 year they actually build a house. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much contractor work is filled in there to make sure that, like, everything is good to go, but it sounds like it's very similar to that one, where it's like very well rounded, where it's like you're getting all of the aspects to it.
Yeah, who built your house? Oh, my son's 9th grade class.
Right.
No, it's seniors. It's seniors. So the kids who don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
So
who are checked out.
We got to get this done. So what's interesting is at the beginning. So first of all, my district is one of the 4, depending on how you measure it, highest per capita poverty rate areas in the nation. We have a huge number of people living below the poverty line. We have a large number of renters. at the beginning of the year, one of the things he did is he had the kids screw together a box. They attached drywall to it, and then he had them punch a hole in the drywall straight through that,
Yep.
and show them how to fix that, because that's such a huge thing with kids, and renters, and so he taught them, hey, this is how you fix drywall. So if there's something in your house, this is how you do it. Teaches them how to repair the outlets so that they can do it safely and not have to worry about that stuff.
That's awesome.
That's my
and
story.
It's just really cool to see schools doing that. I mean, I wish my school was even a fraction of that. We had woodworking, and I think that's the only actual creative thing we had, other than like all computer stuff. So,
well, I did a woodworking club a couple years ago and absolutely loved it. It was funny because it was mainly girls, and at the end of the year, one girl built a desk. One girl built I don't remember if we put a door on it or not, but she built a cabinet for her. Yes, we put a door on it. So she built a long cabinet with pegboard inside, so she could hang up her jewelry and put a mirror on the front. So then this could hang on her door. We built all sorts of stuff. It was really cool. I'm still really proud of those girls.
that's awesome. All right. Well, on that note,
What you doing?
let's talk about what is on our bench. So for this week, for me, I'm still working through YouTube videos and getting things ready for a whole bunch of videos that are going to be coming out this summer. So I've got some projects I'm working on there, which I don't want to talk too much about yet. But that Reclaim project, the electric guitar, and some other things are all in progress. But then on the other side of that, I've started ramping up some production of my UFO lights, because my UFO Fest is coming up in end of May. And so I am hoping to have around, last year I had, I think 40 of them, and I sold most of them. This year I'm hoping to have 120, and I want to bring a whole lot more, because I also want, I want to create a 3 price point period, because there were a lot of people that absolutely loved them, but 125 was just a little too much for, a desk lamp, which I figured out a way to make them a little bit smaller and a little bit cheaper, so that I can offer, say, a $60 price range, a $90 price range, and then that 125 for the full diorama. The 61 will literally just be the stand, the acrylic rod, and the UFO that lights up, and like that's just it. And then trees will be in the next level, and the next level will be the whole diorama with the Sasquatch and all that.
So when you say diorama, are you saying like they would actually like push together and be almost like a set?
Each. So no. So each.
So each of their own
lamp,
self-contained ones.
Yeah, they're all their own self-contained. Okay. But like for the larger ones, like I drill out a section and make a cave, and I kind of burn it out, and then I paint a little bit so it looks like it's an old antique cave where like cavemen would live, and I put a Sasquatch in there, and then I'll have trees and bushes and grass and cows that are being abducted by the aliens. So like there's a lot of like, think of small like model train stuff. There's a lot of that in those full dioramas. And so if I don't do that, it gets cheaper. And so if I can, go down in scale so that some of them are just the wood and the ships, great. If not, and then some have trees and maybe a cow.
Yeah, because
and then the other ones
so when you said that, my mind went to almost doing like click them together and push them together for an even bigger scene. So it's like you're collecting the set. So then you have a return
That's a cool
customer.
Idea.
Yeah. So then you have a return customer is like, oh, I got to add this onto the set, which it would obviously take a little bit of planning to interlock and some standardization. So it might take a little more thought to like make something like that happen. But anyway, that's just.
I think I'm going to work on that for next year. This year,
yeah, I'm sure.
Not,
I'm sure your schedule is like already.
Yeah,
but I really like that idea of being able to have like return customers to expand the set. That's a really cool idea.
I want to see a cow in the middle of the acrylic going up.
So I do that today.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll just use some fast setting epoxy and have it into the acrylic as it's going up, and it works really great. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what's on my bench right now. Mr. Newman, what's on your bench? What are you working on?
I have so much going on right now. It's killing me. So my wife, we recently incorporated the business because my wife does artwork, and she wants to try and sell more of hers. But as opposed to me, when I first started selling things, I was like, okay, give me money, and I'll give this to you. My wife believes wholeheartedly in the give me money, I'll tell the tax people to make sure that everything's in line. And so she wanted to make sure she was on the up and up. So she is now incorporated underneath our umbrella. But that also means that I make frames for her. So I have a frame that I have to make. Hamilton Dilbeck actually ordered a picture from her, and it's insane. I can't wait to show it. But I have to make her frame for that. So one of the things that sucks about Etsy is you can have things listed that don't sell, and then all of a sudden they sell, and then something else sells, and you have to make those. So one of the pieces I have to make is my Jefferson book stand, which will be number 22 or 23 of these that I've made. And they are very labor intensive. It's a lot of time to do that. But I also sold a cheaper version of it that's like a two-sided. So the Jefferson book stand is a 5-sided book stand. It's got on around the sides are 4 sides that stands that flip up, and then one on the top. The cheaper version just has 2, but the way I made it before, and the images of it have a finger joints, box joints, and I haven't made it in like 4 years. So I don't remember the sizes. I don't remember how I made anything. So I'm going back. Right. So it's, with the Jefferson book stand, it's fine. I've made it 20 something times. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I know I need this piece. I've got it all laid out. I know exactly what I'm doing. This one is, okay, I got to cut the pieces. Is this piece right? What am I going to do? How am I going to do the box joint? What am I...
You can hit cancel order as a seller.
Yeah. You know what? If I was going to do it on one, I would do it more on the Jefferson book stand, because that lists for $950. And apparently they found me through Etsy's offsite ads. I immediately lost $160 out of that sale. They took $100 for that fee, $48 for something else. And it's like, holy crap. So I've and I ship them for free. So I've got that. Plus I've got a couple of my bench toppers I got to get done and shipped out. I've got 2. I came up with a new, I haven't even promoted this. I've got a new large size router table. So I don't know if you guys have seen my portable router table. It clamps onto the end of the workbench. That's one of my big sellers, and I use a trim router for that one. Well, I decided to make one for a large size router as well, with a T-track installed in it. So it's a full 1-inch thick Baltic birch plywood T-track, and actually the T-track I use has both standard and a wider gauge T-track for bigger, for like table saw size tracks. So I've got a couple of those that I got to get out. I had 3 out, got 3 out this weekend, and I've got 2 sitting over here waiting for the T-track to come in because I forgot to order it. I thought I ordered it, but I didn't. So now I'm waiting. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff just sitting around, and it's stressful. I hate it. I hate it so much being like that.
It's even more stressful when you know you've ordered it and you got it and you don't remember where it is, so you have to order another thing. And then, of course, you immediately find it once you get the other one.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, it's like, usually it's outside of whatever return window or whatever. So it's like, now I've got extra of these.
So then you say, I'm going to put it aside until I get that order again and I know where it is. And then you don't get that order again for like 6 months. And then by the time you need it, you don't remember where it is. Exactly. So it's this vicious cycle.
I had that happen with some windshield wipers where it's like I get some windshield wipers, so I have them on hand just in case, like, they get bad or whatever for seasonal stuff. and I knew that I had the windshield wiper for the back of one of our vehicles, and I could not find it, and then I found it like a month later. Fortunately, I had not committed to buying another windshield wiper, so fight the power, right? I persevered.
I was looking here at your website and your Etsy. Your prices are pretty much identical for those bookshelves, by the way. Word of the wise, make Etsy at least 40% more expensive.
I know. I always feel bad about doing that type of thing, though. Like, I feel it makes me feel dirty. The problem is, and I've said this 1,000 times, I am not by any means a good businessman. By any means.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a terrible businessman, and I like selling things to people, and I like them having what they need, and it's tough.
I feel you, but I always suggest that just because that's what Etsy's taking out of your pocket. So
it is. It's not bad. Like when it's not a offsite ads sale, it's not usually terrible. And then you get the save and share, but I don't know.
You can turn the offsite ads off, by the way, too. I have those off on my account because I only sell digital plans, and if they run the app, I make 10 cents. So I don't do it.
I mean, the thing is, so let's talk about this for a second, if you guys don't mind. I mean, the thing is, Etsy is where people who are going to go look for something, they're either going to go to Etsy or they're going to type into Google, and Google is going to bring up Etsy. If you have the offsite ads off, then they're not going to promote your stuff. So if they have, somebody, hey, I need a router table, then someone else's stuff is going to come up, right? So the pros and cons to it are that, it's good to have a website. I'm glad that I have a website. I've made decent sales on there. However, overall, people are going to go to Etsy first because they trust it as a platform. And that, I think, is where the difficulty is, because so many people get screwed by Etsy. And you're like, I'd like to leave, but that's where people go, right?
And it is coming down. Nothing has really replaced it too much yet, but it is slowly losing popularity because Etsy the last few years has just become, a reseller's paradise. And so I know that they're trying to combat it with other stuff, but right now it's still just most of the stuff on there that you're seeing is just being resold from China. So
it's tough.
Yeah. But
so Alex, that's what's on my bench. Yeah.
Alex, what's on your bench?
I've been chipping away at the walnut dining table, so I did some glue ups of the table leaves on those ones, because the table leaves are only 2 boards, since they're 6 inches wide, so they're a foot wide. So I wanted to do those before I did the ends of the tabletops, where I have 8 boards to glue up for those panels. So I wanted to get some reps in with, because I do have the panel clamps for those, which is so nice, but can be a little bit tedious to get them set up, but you get a much better result. And I had a oh no moment when I was moving one of the boards, because I've gotten lazy and I just don't wipe up any of the glue, because I'm just gonna hit it with a sander and get it done with. So I'll go and I'll get some side cutters and cut off big globs, but then I'll just get the rest of it with the sander when I go through and start sanding it. But I had forgotten to do that on one side, so when I sat the board down and it was teetering, I was like, oh no, somehow I glued these up and got them so they are not flat. And I was freaking out for a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I found that it was on the one side where it's oh, I didn't do those. And then I went through, sanded it. I had the flattest surface that I have in my shop is the MFT table. And so I went ahead and put it on there. And then I had a just marginally visible amount of twist on there. We're talking maybe a 64th of an inch on one corner, where it's like if you press down on one side, you could like see light, but for what I needed, like it's within the tolerances that I'll need for that particular project. So I had a sigh of relief there, because I was like, oh crap, if I can't get this for these ones, how am I going to get the other ones? And I don't know if this came into play, but so I have two different types of panel clamps. I have the Rockler panel clamps, and I have the 36-inch version of those, and then I have the Woodpeckers Clampzilla, which I have they're like a 50-inch version. So the Rockler version, they have their own feet, and so they're up off of the surface, but the ones that are the Clampzilla ones from Woodpeckers, those aren't, and I didn't support weight underneath those. So I don't know if, since there was so much overhang, that I got just a little bit of that weight pulling it that direction on that as it was drying with that glue. So I'm not sure if that was what gave it a little bit of that twist. I'm uncertain. But I made sure to put supports under there for the falling ones so that I didn't have that extra overhang. Because, I mean, most of the time you're not going to have that much extra like weight pulling down from the side. But I went large with the panel clamps. I want to eventually get some panel clamps that are smaller so I can handle that stuff without all that extra metal hanging over. So I'm going to be ready here to start doing the bigger panel glue ups. And those ones, I think what I'm going to do is since it's 8 boards, I'm going to do 4 boards at a time and then glue them all together. Because I do use dominoes for alignment, because there's a little bit of cup on some of the boards that needs to come out to keep it aligned, and then the panel clamps get the rest. But just in terms of like getting the glue up, getting the dominoes in there, sometimes you just like, it always happens where you get like a domino that's ever so slightly off alignment, and you got to take time to like get it pushed together and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I plan for all of those contingencies, because those dominoes will be chamfered to help it align in there. But sometimes if you don't put it in nice and straight and one sided, and it's ever so slightly askew, it takes a little more force to push it all together for it to kind of snap in the direction that you want. So that's what I've got.
That's why I
recently.
That's why I have I made these years ago. These clamps that with the micro jig match fit system, so it was adjustable. That when I do big glue ups like that, I actually prefer to do them vertically. So I'll put the first one in, I'll put the glue on, I'll put the dominoes, I'll put the second one on top, and that way, because there's nothing I hate more than trying to glue up a table and trying to get the pieces together, and you're like, hitting from the side and try it, right? You're getting that awkward. And then there's the table or whatever's underneath it in the way. So you're bouncing off. So I always do my glue ups vertically so that I can just stack them up. And I've actually gone up, I think, 5 feet with this thing and just glue them up and then clamp it in place. And half the time I let it dry that way too, because I'm too lazy to take it down.
I had looked at trying to figure out a way to do it vertically, but since I hadn't thought of a way to do it in my space, because I've got 2, they're like 10 by 30 rooms in the basement, so they're separated. So because the other crappy thing is with those panel clamps, there's one side that has the adjustable screw that's on there, and that one would be the side that would make the most sense to go down, but you don't want to smash that into the ground, and they're variable. So I just need a slot of some kind, almost like just like a old pallet or something like that I can slide it into to keep it vertical. Because I've thought about doing something like that, so that it is a lot easier to deal with. But I just haven't thought of a good way to do it on my shop.
I'll post the video because it's easy to make something like that. The ones I made, could not be easier. That's the thing. Like all my jigs, I will say this: not only am I a bad businessman, I'm also exceedingly simple. So everything that I make is just simple because I'm like, okay, I need to do this. What is the easiest way that I can do it? So it is literally a board that I think is about 3 to 4 inches wide, and I think I did 20 inches long. because that's what I had laying around. It's a piece of plywood. In the middle of it, I have one board that's about 5 inches tall that has brackets, so it sits exactly at 90 degrees. And I put either Tyvek or packing tape on it so that if any glue gets on there, I can peel it off. The other side, I made a sliding bracket that just sort of sits down, and that's where the micro jig match fit system comes in, because I'll move that around and I've got the groove there so I can clamp it in place. And then I'll put the first board in, put them together and clamp it in, and then it doesn't move. It is lined up. And I actually have it, usually when I do it on 2 sawhorses. So one's on one sawhorse and the other one's on the other one. So it's all open underneath. And then I just put the glue in, domino, put it on. If you have to do a little force, you use a dead blow mallet, get them together. Otherwise, it's just do, and I just build it straight up and then glue it. Makes my life so much easier. Because it also is the matter of space. I'm in a 2-car garage. It's really difficult for me to lay out. At some points I've made 10-foot tables, and it's really difficult to lay out a 10-foot table across a space and get around it. But if you do a 10-foot table that's 4 feet vertically, that's a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah. I did, however, have the forethought to take some I have a bunch of lath strips that I use for drying wood that I cut down to be between the clamp face and the actual workpiece, because they have the little some of them have the little spot where you can screw in like a sacrificial wood piece. I'm so non-committal on stuff like that where it's I don't know thickness wise if I get something really thick and then it won't fit in there. So I still put something in there because I've done it before where I've forgotten to put something sacrificial there and then get dents in the edge of the workpiece. So I was like, okay, that seemed to work well, because this is only maybe a 1/4 inch thick at most. So it's not super big. I just slip it in between. It also, it does help a little bit when getting, because that's one thing that sucks about those panel clamps is getting those, the small side faces to stop from falling down as you're trying to tighten it. So sometimes I can slip it in there to help it from not falling down while you're tightening on one side.
I hate that.
To get everything to, it's so which is why I absolutely hate the little swivel handle that they have on there. That's you swivel it at 90 and then go. It's just so annoying. The only one that I've seen that's different than those is from O School is the brand, and it's got I can't remember the type of handle it is, but it's just a rotary kind of nice. Style. So I really do want to try that style to see if it kind of helps with that, because there's good intentions with those ones that they go straight, but then you can go and crank on them hard because they've got that nice lever arm there. They're just so tedious to get, especially if you need space to get everything in there and then screw it in, because I back it out super far because sometimes I can't I don't push in the boards quite all the way with the dominoes, because sometimes it's it needs a little bit more force. But I probably need to use my parallel clamps that have the extra wide jaw. It has a little rubber face on it to clamp it down before putting it in or finalizing the panel clamps when I set it in there. So there's a million different ways to do it, but of course I find the most difficult way.
You know what? No matter what, the way you're doing it at the time is always going to be the most difficult way. Because there's always something that's going to go wrong, no matter what.
Yeah. Which is, at least I had the forethought to do the table leaves before the table one. This was if I screw up with these ones, it's going to be much easier to fix than the other ones, which, I'm hoping that I don't run into any huge issues. I'm sure I will, but at least I've got some of the kinks worked out of
figured out
doing that. So
Fix it.
I got a lot of talk about that, but no. Duffy, I was thinking about something here, and I wanted to bring this up because it's so My wife would say to me so many times, she's like, "You've got cutting boards down in the basement. You should just go do another sale." And I said to her, "Babe, I would love to. I don't have enough stock." She goes, "You got 2 boxes." It's like, if I sell any of it, I'm done. I don't have any backup. So I'm feeling you on the number of pieces that you want to make, and the fact that it's not to the end of May seems like so far away until you realize all the different things you have to make to get there.
Oh yeah,
That's what's
yeah. My
tough.
production for big shows like the UFO Fest, I start months in advance. Yeah, and then the question is, how do I get all that product there? Like this year, I'm thinking I'll end up having to get the trailer for it. Like it's just
How far is it from you?
It's from me, it's 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And it's a 2-day overnight event. So, yeah. So I'm like, maybe I'll just rent one of the small U-Hauls and fill up the back of my truck with it too. Because last year I took my wife's car and mine, and I still think I'm going to have more stuff again this year. So we'll see. Yeah, and it's funny. So you mentioned that, and I'm like, but also just go sell it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I sell it. People call me up and, "Hey, do you have some boards? Can I come check?" And I don't have that much anymore. It's, when I retire, my plan is that I'm going to move out of the garage. We might even move into a smaller house because our kids are older. And so my plan is to get a larger shop, but I also am going to do 2 to 3, and I'm only planning 2 to 3 shows per year because of the amount of work that it goes to get into it.
Yeah.
But also because I want to have time to do all of the other stuff, right? You got to sort of just juggle everything. So my plan is roughly 10 years full-time woodworking, and then maybe I'll retire from that too. But I'll be about 70 then, so I'm
You
planning.
could be the crotchety old guy who whittles on his porch, right?
I
want to be that guy.
I don't know about that.
I'm already crotchety. I just need to be whittling on my porch.
No, because I'll cut my hand off. I'll cut my fingers so bad. I know I will. I've cut my fingers so many times. I'll be bad. All right, sorry. I didn't mean to take the fix it noise away.
No, totally fine. Yeah, so that noise is just we're moving on to what you're breaking. So, Alex, you were saying, things that were rough that weren't going well. So what else has not gone well in your shop this week?
So I actually had to go around and tighten up the frame of the kitchen chairs recently, because my wife is like, these are like getting kind of squeaky, and the some of the felt pads have come off on these, and these are not things that I've made. They're like the hand-me-down dining room set. And so it was originally the felt pads that was the primary issue. And so I flip them over, and originally I can't remember the person who had it previously. I think it was a family member. They had the hard plastic things on there, and then we were lazy and just put the felt pads over the top of that. So these chairs have an extra half inch on them on the bottom just from this stuff, and there's only maybe one felt pad left over, and the thing is just caked in dog and cat hair. So I have a bunch of extra felt pads, so I got those swapped out. And then I noticed when I had them upside down to do all of that those little corner braces that they screw into the frame of the legs and everything, a couple of them were actually loose, and I was like, well, that's not good. So I tightened it up on one of them, and then I checked all of them because I was doing the felt pads anyway, so I tightened all of them up. So it made me feel, it was a good feel good, I did something, I made something. It was just a quick little 10-15 minute project. Because the funny thing was, one of those chairs I actually had to fix because one of our 160 some pound dog knocked it over. I can't remember how, but it broke the backer on the one side, and I had, because it has so much stress built up in it, it popped out and it was staying out. So I had fixed that I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. So these chairs they've seen a lot, and I'm still getting every last penny out of them until we eventually someday get a different dining set. But thing that sucks is that this dining set, it's like a bar height level, and that the big dog, like, it's literally his face level. So it's like we can't do anything that's like below that because it would be even worse. Fortunately, he's not as like, the hilarious thing is the other dog that's like a normal sized dog that's like 70 pounds. He's the one that'll like counter surf for food, and the other one, even though his like face is right there, he's good enough that he won't like do anything in most scenarios.
Our dog can actually rest his face down. He'll come over and he'll rest his chin on top of the table. And you're like, dude, we're eating. Go away.
Yeah,
right?
exact
He's pretty
same
good
thing.
about it.
That big dog, he wasn't quite full grown, but he was like 89% there. There was one time where I came back and he was just standing on the table. I'm just like, how did you get up there? I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, which is why they also jump on the outdoor table that's in the backyard to go bark at whatever. So no surface is safe in our house. But other than that one, I also had, so this was maybe a couple months ago, I think. So the one side of the basement that's the primary workshop is the spot that has the HVAC and all that stuff. And so I had gotten the humidifier that was in that central air system moved to a different spot, so it wasn't like taking up the hallway area, because I'd walk by it and run into it all the time. And so right now, this time of year, it's like cranked up super high. And so it was earlier this week, like I noticed a puddle on the floor from that. And the crappy thing is that's also where my like miter station is. Fortunately, it didn't touch the saw. It just touched some of, because I have my, it's very comical because I have my Capex on top of like a Wen portable stand. It's the most like ironic thing. So like there's a few like water droplets on the Wen portable stand.
Don't you be knocking those stands. Those stands are awesome. I use them all around my shop.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying it's a little bit of an oxymoron or juxtaposition or however you say that. Like Wen and Festool items together. It's like it's probably some like woodworking yang. Romeo and it's probably like a Romeo and Juliet scenario that's like forbidden shop love or something.
I will use whatever and however as long as it works well.
Yeah. Like I've said many times before, I will spend the budget on like the part of the tool that I need the most, and then where I can skimp on the budget, I'll skimp on the budget, because that Capex was on like a free desk that I got off the road for forever. Like that was my station for a while. I was like, works just fine.
Dude,
anyway,
mine. Hold on, because I got to say this. I've been in my shop for, I think it was 2013 or something like that when I built my garage out, and I found a bathroom vanity on the side of the road, and I put my miter saw on it. And not only is my miter saw, this is my third miter saw, not only is it in the same position, it's still sitting on top of that bathroom vanity.
I can't. It's in the room, but I can't pull it over. So my little Bosch router station, it's literally drilled to the top of like a nightstand. Yeah. That's my station. Anyway, so back to this humidifier. So I don't know if the what's the name of that little like metal hose clamp thing? You use the like Phillips screw head on it to tighten it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Those things. So I don't know if that wasn't tight enough when it was originally installed. So anyway, with these drips coming off of there, like I noticed it, and then that's also like right below that is my like scrap pile from the miter saw. So like it's like, oh, this is kind of annoying that I have to like move all of these scraps out of the way to like get stuff to dry, so I don't get like moldy whatever going on there that's nothing growing. So fortunately I don't think it was too bad, and like those are like true scraps that I know I will never use for anything. That's my like firewood pile, so like it's not anything that I would ever end up using anyway. So I did tighten down that that hose, and it seems to be doing okay now. I did back off the humidifier just like a skosh, so it wouldn't be running quite as often. But I've since then, since it was doing okay for a few days, I like upped it just a little bit, and it seems to be doing okay now. So hopefully it's the final fix that I need to do for that.
Good.
And then the last thing that I had was today. So we have one of those like glass, whatever brand that you have that has like the solid plastic top on it. That thing broke like years ago, but it was just too cheap to throw out the glass piece. So we never had like a top for it. So whenever we use it, it's just like put foil on it or whatever. So my wife had finally, she's learned now that she can go through and find stuff in the Bamboo Handy app. And she's like, here's a lid, go ahead and print this. So I was like, okay. So I loaded up some TPU for it to give it a little bit of flex. And because I looked at the model and it was for a different brand or whatever. So I downloaded the model and I modified the dimensions for it. And so I get it off the printer and it's like an 1/8 of an inch too short in either of the directions. So it's like, dang it. So, but the other thing that I was surprised at was, and I didn't notice this until I was like halfway through printing it, it was like, oh my God, I did not check the radius of this lid to see if it would actually match up with what I had. And lo and behold, that radius did match up, but it was my like dimension that was on there that wasn't quite right. The tolerancing just wasn't quite there. So I'm going to have to remeasure it because I don't think that one of the dimensions I'm going to be able to fit in one direction on the printer because it was already like almost up to the edge. And because of how that like seal thing, it's kind of like that S shape if you were to look at it from like the profile. So it needs supports on the outside. So it has that like little overhang that it doesn't mess up while it's printing. So it's so close to getting something that would be fixed with a 3D printer, but I'll still have the shovel handle that I reprinted and put on. That one's still working fine. So I've still got that one as a win. So we'll take some wins and losses for stuff at home that we can print for whatever. So that's my last thing that didn't go well.
Logan, what about you? What's not gone well in the shop this week?
Well, so interestingly enough, talking about the Jefferson book stand and how I've made a bunch of them. So I go and buy my lumber last week and let it sit in the shop for a couple of days. It's all out of walnut. I bought 5/4 walnut. And for the book sides, they are 12 inches tall and 12 inches wide. But the width is usually about 9 inches with 1.5 inch breadboard. But the panels, like I said, they're book matched. So I need 1/2 inch. And I'm so mad at myself because after I cut them down, I tried to use my Harvey bandsaw and I got too much drift because I've never used a bandsaw for real until I got this one. So I was not doing the way I should have. So I bought $100 worth of walnut and ruined $60 worth. So I had to go spend another $100 to buy 8/4 so that I could cut down the panels, which really irritates the hell out of me. So, I mean, I got some beautiful pieces. I'm really excited about what I have. I'm probably more excited about what I have than what I had anyway, because it was sort of just plain. This one is going to have a beautiful top. It's got some really nice feathering in the grain, and it's going to look fantastic, but it's just irritating. And then my laser is, again, making me angry. It's cutting perfectly. If you think of if you're facing the laser, as it goes X and Y, or was that X? As it's going X, it's cutting straight, but as it's going Y, it's got an angle on each end. And I can't figure out why, because I've gone through and I've fixed everything. I've aligned everything I thought, but there's still something off. So I got to go through and figure out what is going on. I did get through to support, and they sent me some stuff. So we checked one thing, and that's okay. But now I got to go and it's a waste of time. I don't have time to do it. It's just, one thing after another. So, just irritating. I was really irritated about that walnut, but I went and bought more yesterday. And what am I going to do? That's my story.
Yeah.
It's not like, like everything else. There's not a terrible amount that and then of course, well, never mind. My miter chopper, the thing that I use to make the frames, it's a really cool. If you haven't seen it, this is one of the neatest tools.
I have seen it, and it's awesome.
So we found it on Facebook Marketplace. The guy, I don't know what happened, why I looked, but I just opened up Marketplace, and I was like, oh, look, it's right there. Somebody's selling one, $250. So I was like, hey, I'm interested in this. I said, would you take 200? They said, yeah, sure. Why not? So it's got the machine and then 2 extra sets of blades. So I change out the blades. So one of the really cool things is that, it's got that miter chopper that comes down and bites through it, and you move it forward. The bad part is that it's got 2 adjustable fences, but they adjust individually. So there's no place to really mark to say if you are exactly 180 degrees and 90 degrees to the blade, if that makes sense. So I could cut a perfect 45, but I could have one side be 44 and the other one be 46, which is not terrible if you're doing one corner. But I'm doing one corner and then I'm cutting another piece that's going to have one corner, and then the 2 ends have to fit together. So then, you might have 2 pieces that are both 46 or 47.
Yeah, unless
right?
you line it up ahead of time. Yeah, you're going to have.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Issues.
And that's like, it's not, I looked at the directions once. So I know everything there is to know about the machine because I looked at those directions once. Well, I scanned them.
Just like any woodworker does.
Yeah, I mean, I looked through them. I saw one thing that I needed to know, and that is that you cannot hand sharpen the blades. They have to be sharpened a specific way. So I know that. I know everything about the machine now. So maybe I'll go back and take another look at that to figure it out. But that's my big thing that I got to do. So it's always like, it's just irritating because it's all these little tiny things that you have to do. Oh, and then for my, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the CNC, for my Onefinity, I got the new red line spindle and the new, their new controller, which is really cool. But I got to take apart the old one because I have the original controller on there. So I'm looking at the video of how to do it. And like, literally, I got to take the entire machine apart. I got to pull out all the wires. I got to feed all, like, oh my God, I'm going to put on all new stepper motors and everything. And, you want it to be, okay, I can do this real quick and move on. And instead, I know that's going to be a solid, at least a day project.
And make sure you just a word to the wise, make sure you check your screws and your cables lengths ahead of time. I'm in a Discord. My Discord has quite a few people who have Winfinities and have got the upgrade kits, and they've had screws that are the wrong sizes that were sent. They have cables that weren't connected in the box or are too short to actually do the run that they're supposed to. And Winfinity is being like, so just...
No, I every time I've had to interact with Onefinity, any issue, they've been amazing. Like any time I've had, I mean, I'm trying to think the last problem I had, but yeah, I mean, the one thing when I got the original, one of the cables was too short for how I wanted. Like it was perfect for the way they wanted you to set it up. I, however, always want to set up things my way. Which means I'm just making something up. And, it had a connection to fit on the front of it. But I didn't like where it was, so I created just this little extension piece that could rotate. And it was about 3 inches too short. Story of my sex life. And so I had to buy a new one. Sorry, wrong thing. Anyway,
Nope.
go ahead. That's the stuff that's going on for me. How about you, Alex?
So my shop, I feel like I just been losing my sanity this week. And that's really all that's broken, is just that my sanity has been challenged all week long. So first of all, I didn't mention it in the What You're Making, but I did go to Seattle Comic-Con this past weekend, which was so much fun. It was a great trip away. It's my wife and I's 17th anniversary, and so we just went up there, had a great weekend. I got to have brunch with Greg, one of our patrons, and his wife and lovely little girl. It was just a great time. But then I came back and daylight savings hit, which is always tough, and it just sucks. And then ever since then, yesterday, I felt like I was running behind on everything, and I went in the shop after work and was doing stuff, and normally it's Mondays are my day to cook, and so I came in to cook, and I'm like, oh, it's 8:00. I was going by the light outside, and now it's 8:00. Today I had to go to today I went to a new retail partner to talk about getting my products in the retail. I mixed up the days on my calendar. I'm actually not meeting with her until tomorrow, but I was there today. She was not there. So that was a mess. And then I went to the lumber yard, and normally in the afternoon, they're super dead. Today they were super busy. So I waited freaking forever to get the one piece of plywood that I needed. And I have them cut it because I hate breaking down plywood.
Yeah.
And that was the quickest part of the whole process. It was just waiting to purchase it. It was insane. And it's a really bad weather day. It's raining like crazy today. So everyone's stupid driving. And so I only
raining
got
in the northwest.
Go figure.
Never.
Go figure, right? But it hasn't.
Shocked.
It hasn't in like a week and a half, and that's the problem. Is because the people in the Pacific Northwest forget how to drive if it's been sunny for more than a week. And then it takes them like 2 days to figure out how to drive in the rain again. Don't know why. That's just how it is up here. And so today it was just people driving, and it was driving me up the wall. And then I got back to the house from the lumberyard about 10 minutes before we needed to start recording this. So it's just, I feel like my sanity is being challenged this week.
It's the time change.
It's part of it. It's part of it. And on my day job today too. And I'm not going to get into it too much, but I had 3 meetings that all 3 meetings and were my only meetings today. At the end of it, I was typing to my boss, and one of them, I'm like, what the hell have they been doing this whole time? Because it was a meeting about us doing something, and they're like, well, we're waiting on you guys. And I'm like, well, we were waiting on you to do your part. And that was 2 months ago.
Oh, God.
What have you been doing for the last 2 months? And then the other 2, it was just like, this could have been an email. It's one of those meetings. So I feel like I need to have the world's tiniest violin playing right now. Like, it's all small things, but it's just adding up.
It is. So, it's a lot. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
So it's a Blink 182 day for you, right?
Yeah. All the small things. Well, yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
now we get to monetize.
Even though we're not monetized on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the video, please.
Anywho, so that's been what's going on. And on that note,
shut up and take my money.
That's the wrong sound effect. We're not doing that segment today because we don't have anything. Okay, so
privacy.
Yeah. So what you're watching this week? So my first one is from Heartwood, Portland. They're a local maker. And they posted a picture this week of a beautiful walnut table with some maple accents, and it's a really gorgeous coffee table. But what was the most interesting thing about it was their description. And the description says that I made an error, and almost turned to this this table into a piece of firewood, but a friend convinced me to stick with it and finish the table. And for one, you can't tell where the error is. I didn't even get to the point of what the error actually is because I couldn't figure it out. But two, it's a gorgeous table that I'm sure they're going to turn around and sell for a good amount of money. And it's just a reminder of, just because something is frustrating and sticking with it, I'm taking my own advice at the moment. Stick with it and see it through the end. Unless it catches on fire, then just throw it out. But yeah, just stick through it because like this guy, he was going to burn the table down, but it turned out to be a really beautiful coffee table. So, anyways, that's my first one. Logan?
I'm sure they'll have to have a Viking funeral for a future project that needs it, but that would be a good way to go.
You know what's funny is I made a table many, many years ago with a piece of spalted maple that I got for free from a lumber yard because he's like, "Do you want these? We're just throwing them away because we can't do anything with them." And there's so much of that oh, this might be firewood, this is trash, I hate it. That in the right eyes and just changing how you look at things, it makes it so much different. And actually, that's a good segue to my first one. This guy's name is Wilson Wildlife Sculpture. That's what he goes by. He does these amazing wood carvings of animals. He actually just won Best in Show for one of his pieces at a show. I don't know where, but it's amazing looking at what he hand carves. And my favorite are the ones where they're all most of them are birds, and it's coming out of the wood, and you can actually see like the carving coming to life. It's really cool. He does such beautiful work, and he won an award for it, and well deserved. I mean, it's just beautiful stuff.
Nice. All right. First one that I've got is Ashley over at Shallow Creek Woodcraft.
I love her.
She made this really nice, I can't remember if it's an entry or hallway cabinet. So it's got, it's bird's eye maple for like the top, and it's got 3 drawers on it. And then the legs and the apron are just this bright pink color. And it's one of those things that, like, I would never think of that combination, but the way she pulled them together just looks so nice and crisp and just so well executed. So that one, I just absolutely love the look that she went with on that piece.
She's an amazing woodworker. Have you seen the ones where she does the ballerina legs on the tables?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, where it's kind of got that... Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's very distinct.
Rob Rojas has one of her pieces, and it's got literally like the feet of the ballerina in the shoe standing up, and all 4 legs are like that. It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does amazing work.
All right,
Mr. Duffey.
Yes, my next one is from Wood and Wilder. I've talked about them on the show before. They make amazing chevron mosaic chevron pieces, and she posted a new one that just has some gorgeous texture to it, and they use a lot of trim and fancy trim in these mosaics that also have like some carvings on them. Like there were some butterfly carvings on one of the trim pieces, and it was just lots of different colors, lots of different woods. It was just really, really gorgeous. So if you like mosaic things, check out Wood and Wilder.
I want to do one of those. I've done like 2, I think, where they were the tabletops, and I really would like to do another one someday.
Except for you got to do it with your chopper.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That would just be like a fun day. Like, obviously it's not like the fastest way to do it, but it's like probably the most fun way to do it.
That'd be a cool video too.
I just printed out 3D googly eyes, bouncy eyes for it too, and I put them on top of it. It's so good. So mine, I want to talk Evan's Woodshop. I don't know if you guys know Evan. Love him. Yeah. Great kid. He's been doing some really great, his last series has been just different jigs that he's making, which obviously, I love the jigs. He's got some really great ideas. I love the one he did doing the texture in the wood, which is always fantastic. Today he did push sticks for his wood shop class. And I love the kid. I think he does such a great job. And I love watching him grow as well. So always a good watch.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next one that I've got, I think it's pronounced Camber Atelier, I think. Atelier. So what they did was they did this kind of sculpted, maybe kind of mid-century modern style table. And so the thing that's cool about this, and I've seen it a similar style, but not kind of sculpted, where the legs come up and then it connects to the top, but then the actual drawer, its footprint is smaller than the tabletop. So it's kind of gives this like illusion of like the legs and then the drawer is kind of like hanging down, almost like it gives this almost spider-like kind of essence of like long legs and then kind of the body hanging on there. But it's all sculpted, so it's got all those really nice curves, and I love good sculpted furniture. So because it's got that like gap in between the sides of the drawers and the legs, like it's something that just kind of like catches your attention because it's not the typical like side table profile that you're accustomed to. So I really liked how that looked.
That's nice.
My last one is from, this is not a traditional maker. They are a grain stain company. So this is Custom Grain with a K instead of a C. Now, the reason why I'm shouting these guys out is they are a small company and they really only specifically do grain filler pigments and very bright stains. So they're in the world of custom car remakes. And so a lot of the trucks that have the wooden beds that get put in, they make the really vibrant stains for those. But they also specifically make these grain fillers that are a stained filler. And so like when you put on oak, you've got like black oak with then all your grain is like, say, red tinted. It is really, really pretty. And they're just releasing a line of neon glow in the dark pigment as well for the fillers.
It's nice.
I can't wait to start playing with it. Like I'm thinking like my UFO lights, like some of those green, if I can get it to glow in the dark, like it's going to be really cool. So I can't wait to start playing with these.
So is it like a pre-order or is it still not
They are
yet?
going to start. Yeah, they're releasing it at the end of this week. And so the orders will start at the end of the week. So I'm going to hopefully get on it right away.
Nice. All right, is it back to me or is it you, Alex?
Back to you.
It's you, Mr. Newman.
All right, so I've got 3 because I gotta point them out. So the first 2 actually are connected. Silver Hair and Sawdust, Marathon. I always forget. I always say her name wrong. I love her. And Albert Klein. Both have been doing beautiful marquetry pieces. I love their marquetry pieces. I love the raffles they've been doing too. And Albert and I have a connection because he wrote a book that came out last year. And then this year I've got one and I was talking to him about that. That's been a lot of frustration, but I love the marquetry and seeing Mara's work and how she's grown with that too is just absolutely amazing. I have a leaf she gave me at Maker Camp 2 years ago. So I love the marquetry. I love what they've been doing and those pieces. And then Pete from Pete Squared, not exactly someone most people don't know. I love Pete. He just did one of the coolest small shop pieces that I've seen in a while. So he did T-Track, first Rockler base. He built a custom cabinet to go in the Rockler base. And then the top of it is a folding top. And on one side, he's got the 10-inch bandsaw and I think a sander on the other side. So, but you open up parts of the base of the cabinet, fold it over, and you've got a full T-Track system. And both those pieces are hanging upside down and out of the way. I think it's a genius idea for a small shop. I think it's fantastic to be able to have both those pieces on there. I just love that idea. He always comes up with great ideas. That guy's brain. I told him I think he's bald because he burned off all his hair follicles. It's just too much going on. He couldn't stand it. That's why I have hair. That's all three of us have hair.
I think it's the stress from dealing with the other podcast hosts you have to deal with.
Pete from dealing with Alex.
No, from dealing with Braden and Dan.
Oh no.
It's not Peter Kapar.
You're thinking the wrong
Pete Squared is a different guy.
Oh, Pete Squared, not Pete Tree.
Yeah. I was like, he's not bald. I'm going to tell him that you said he's bald. No, Pete Squared. He's up near you, I think. Maybe he's just in California. But he's over there on that weird coast. And he did the metal dragon head with X-Tool metal laser. He's got so many great ideas. The guy's just beyond smart.
Yeah, because I think I remember seeing his. It was basically a station for. I think it was a bamboo PONS or something like that. It's like a 3D printing station. Because I've been slowly making upgrades to my 3D printing room and stuff, and that's like one of the next things that I need to do is get a better station for some of them to better utilize the little room that I have all of that stuff packed into. So I just need to decide on something. I'm just so non-committal on shop layout stuff where it's I just got to decide on something and just roll with it and try it.
My wife's mad at me because my bamboo is sitting on the dining room table, which is also where I do all the packing of things that I have to pack. And then in the basement, I have a place where I keep all the epoxy, and that's where I have the Flisson printer and my mineral oil. And then in here, I've got all my tools. And then I've got a shed in the back where we keep the stuff, but I've also got some wood storage in there. And then we have an old shed that I'm supposed to tear down, but I can't tear down because that's where I have all the extra wood that I don't want to get rid of. So at least you have a place to keep it out of the rest of the house. I'm just slowly taking over the house.
Oh, I've been doing that slowly. It started with one half of the basement, and then it was the other half of the basement, and then it was the garage, and then it was this one room for the 3D printing room. But yeah, go ahead and print her a replacement lid for some Tupperware. I'm sure she'll like that. Just I did. Just make sure it fits the right size.
So she works in an assisted living facility, and I for Valentine's Day, I printed her out a flower and a vase, and so she could have that. And I'm like, I also made her something with the laser. I'm like, here, now you can keep this, and it's there. But so she came back the other day, and she goes, one of the ladies at my assisted living facility, she had a stroke, so she's only got one hand. She goes, she's learning to play bridge. Can you print me out a card holder so she can set up her cards? So I printed that out earlier. So I do what I can to help. That way I can make up for having over the dining room.
Exactly. You got to stay in your good graces.
Yeah, Logan, I'm in the same boat as you. My garage I took over the garage. My wife can't park in there anymore, and she tells me every day it rains about that. I can't. I've taken over the dining room table, half of the living room, our whole front room.
Well, see what I did. I can't remember which thing came first, but I think I put because I have an extra long driveway. So I think I put the router sled in the drive first, and it blocked the garage, and then I annexed the garage itself. It's you couldn't go in there. So it's if you can't go in there, I might as well just put stuff in there.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Anyway, I still have. Let's see. Do I have 2 or 3 left? I have 3 left that I'll do. I'll just knock them all out. So first one that I have. What?
Don't hurt them.
But Mama said knock you out.
Say knock you out.
First one. Totally literally. So they created this awesome chair. So all of the legs, arms, backing are all done as flames. So, and not just like a solid piece, but like it's sculpted flames on each side of the wood. So you've got a very intricate. And then I think, I can't remember if it was on the back or on the back of the back, the seat back portion. I don't know which side it was on, but then they had like melt ice on that one. So that was a pretty cool piece that they made. And then next one that I have is Average Designed Wood. I can't remember if I had mentioned him before. He's been doing a whole bunch of like Star Wars themed ones. I think he's been doing giveaways on most of it. And one of the more recent ones that I thought was really fun was the little wooden, I think it was a walnut TIE fighter, which was really cool. So he's done a bunch of different Star Wars.
Did he make a lightsaber?
Yes, I know he's made lightsabers at one point. I can't remember how long ago that was. I think it was like relatively recent that he did some of those. And then the last one that I have is not one we see quite as much here. It's from Rugs Creator, because I love those like super custom rugs that people make. I love seeing how those are made, and then they go and they like shave off the excess. It's just so therapeutic to watch. And so they made one with SpongeBob and Patrick like kind of like facing away but kind of looking back. And let's just say you can tell that they are thick with 3 C's. So it's a wonderful, just
that's hilarious,
great rug that I would gladly have in my home.
Okay, actually, real quick, while we're on that,
on rugs, we're on rugs.
On rugs,
we're on.
This is your brain on rugs.
One of the yes, one of the rugs. So at Comic-Con, I got a rug from a maker.
Oh, yeah?
I did. I got a
one piece. That's pretty cool.
One piece Jolly Roger. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Dude, that live action, I love that show.
It's such a good live action.
It is. I always am scared to look at the live action of any anime.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's hit or miss so many times. I've not watched the original One Piece.
I've never seen the anime. I just decided to watch it, and it sucked me, and it was really well done. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've also never seen the anime, so I can't say as it is, but the show itself is incredible. So
it's a lot of fun.
I really, really enjoy it. I have been told by people who have watched the anime that it is a really good adaptation of it. So
that's good.
Anyways, on that note, Newman, today's main, of course, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist it. Today's main topic is router bits and routers. And we're bringing this up because we have a gentleman who's literally writing a book about this topic.
About routers and router bits are part of it, but it's mainly the routers, right? So the idea, the company that approached me said, "Hey, we want to write a book on routers." And I said, "That's great. I can do a book on jigs, router jigs and stuff." So, and I included a whole piece in there about cleaning the router bits, all the stuff, the different types of bits, all the important stuff, the stuff that I thought, if you're going to start off using a router, what do you need to know? November 3rd. I know I'm 90% sure that's what they told me. So I literally have not heard anything else about them for, I sent them all the jigs that I made, all the pieces that I made with the jigs and one of my routers. And so they're setting them up for actual photos because I had to take pictures of the stuff as I did it, but they want to have professional looking pictures. Apparently coming off my iPhone, those pictures aren't professional enough.
You know, Mark Adams, he would laugh at you if you said that was professional.
Shh. Yeah, don't tell him I ever said that. Don't.
Next time I see him, I'm going to let him know.
Don't you dare. Oof.
Oh, actually, so side tangent. I met Logan this past summer for the first time in Vegas, also with Mark Adams. at a Harvey Tools party. And Logan is making that face because it was a party. One of my favorite memories of that party was because they were free drinks and they would just walk around with drinks on plates. They would pass the table that we were standing at, and Logan's like, ooh, ooh, and would just grab one in each hand and put them on the table. And didn't matter if he already had a drink on the table, he would still grab more drinks and put them on the table.
Again. I needed to make sure I had the drinks here. I didn't know how long it would last for.
I think at one point we had like 6 different Manhattans on that table. It was a good time, though.
It was really great. The Harvey people put on a heck of a show. Actually, at the end of that, you're gonna love this. I don't know if you were there. I don't think you were. At the end of the night, there was a dude there that I had looked at him half the night from across the room, and I walked up to him and I'm like, dude, your glasses are killing me. They don't fit you right. Please let me fix them for you. Please. Because they're sitting like, you know how people, if the earpiece is in front of the ear, it tilts up. No, it was worse.
Yeah.
It was like tilted. Like, so,
so it was like down.
Yeah. And the guy wears a high plus prescription, so that, his eyes were really big in these glasses. And so he's not getting the right prescription. They're not fitting him right. And it's just, I looked at that all night. I was like, dude, please, at that point, I'd had enough drinks in me that I didn't feel awkward going, I need to fix your glasses. I need to. So the next day, he was wearing them and he said, thank you. So it was a good time. And then, I got a little plane from Harvey.
I can do you one better during that party. This is probably why I don't work with Harvey. I was chatting up a couple of gentlemen at a table. One of them was the guy from Wood Magazine, who I do work with and chat with. And him and I are talking, and another gentleman walks up, and we start talking to this person, and I'm like, oh, and who are you with? And it's the president of Harvey. I had no idea who that was.
It's a good person to know. It's a good person. He did stand up and talk for a little while.
This was prior to that.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, and afterwards I felt very sheepish. But yes, no, this was early on in the party, but prior to his initial speech. So, because you and I got there, we were like one of the first people there.
Yeah, drank the whole night too. I got introduced to him at the show by, I want to say it might have been Henry from Microjig might have introduced me. So I got like a firsthand. It was nice. It was a good, hey, yeah, nice to meet you. So that helped. Anyway.
Yeah, I kind of huddled in a corner after that.
Yeah. It was easy. I mean, there was a lot of space to huddle, good food. That was a really good time. I was lucky enough to be there as a MC of the student fresh wood competition. So I got to lead a tour around the floor and then MC this event, which I don't know that they'll have me back to do it again, but it was fun to do that time. Having never done something like that, it was awkward. I did make a joke that landed flat, but thankfully I turned it around. And that's why we say thank you to all the teachers. Thank you so much, teachers, for all that you do for the kids. So that I had written the book at that point, and I was waiting to hear back from them, but I was, talking a lot about it. I'm really excited about the book because I put a lot into it. So at the beginning of the year, they came back to me and they said, all right, we're going to move forward on this. We've had this to the side. We wanted to work on these other ones, and I went back, I made a couple revisions. So it's going to come out November. It's weird. So March 19th is their deadline for something. And then it goes to a publisher. So it literally goes to a publisher for, I think, about 4 months before it comes out. Like I've never realized that I didn't realize it was this big of a space. So the book is going to focus on what I did is I talked about, the difference between a full size or really a medium size router and a trim router. I showed pictures of the different types. I labeled the body types. I talk about how to use it, feeds and speeds, how to care for it, how to change the brush if it has a brush. Talked about router bits, all the different types of router bits. So I talked about as many as I could anyway, the different sizes. Talked about the for edge detail, for templates, for rounding over, and then I'm trying to think everything that's in there. And then, like I said, talking about cleaning it, how to take it apart, what to look for, how to brush it, first cuts on the bit, how to hold the machine. And then, so I have 10 jigs in there. I have my router table and the fence. I've got my flattening jig. I've got a splining jig, a base, extended handle, like a extended base for it with one handle, extended handle, two handle base. I came up with a different circle jig than I'd seen before. And then there's something else. Oh, an edge jointing jig. And then I made 3 projects using only those. So one of the projects I did was just, I call it a barbecue board. It's a cutting board with handles and a juice groove that you would use for a barbecue. And then I actually did 2 of those, same one. One I did with a template showing how to route out, and then I filled with epoxy and did like an old-fashioned barbecue, with the round bottom and the legs. And then the other one, I just printed out a picture of one and pasted it to the board and then routed it out by hand and cleaned that out and did the same thing. I did a plant stand that I really like. It's 2 circles, and the legs have it's like 3 legs, and they've got half laps on them. I don't know how to describe it. So it sits down on there and into the leg detail. It's really nice. I'm very happy with that. My wife loves it. We use it as a plant stand, and one of the things I talk about is the fact that you could blow this up and it would be a side table. It's really easy to do. I think it's a really clean design. And then the last one I did was a box that I made and I gave to my daughter. Very small little cherry box, but I used my flattening jig to cut and a 90-degree bit to cut all the miters. I inlaid the top. I showed how I used my router table to actually inset hinges. And then I took a butterfly template and cleaned it out and inset a butterfly into the lid. I think I did walnut for that. So it sits in there. Now, the top was walnut and the inlay of the butterfly was cherry to match the cherry box. So I don't know. I almost wish I'd have been able to do more projects, but it was just a matter of time. I spent, oh my God, they paid me $3,000 to write the book, which by the time it was done, equaled out to be about 15 cents per hour. Because I put so much time into that book.
Yeah, you just want to be so exhausted
you get
with it.
Any residuals or anything? Because that seems really small for. Okay.
Well, so I get like I think 15% of the sales and 20 or 22% of the digital sales. So I mean,
nice.
As I said to my wife, or my wife said to me, either way will work. It doesn't matter. Even if they don't sell a lot of it, I'm a published author in woodworking. I can say that for the rest of my life. Not many people can say that, and it's something to be proud of.
Take that, Spagnola. You're not special anymore. Anyone can write a book.
Yeah, but can somebody write multiples of them and have them be, consistently bestsellers in the woodworking realm? So I don't know. I think the book, like I said, I wrote it in my mind for somebody starting out. I think the jigs are good for anybody, but I mean, most people will be able to look at ones online and be like, okay, that I could probably make that. This is more, I'm getting started. Here's some things that are going to help me in the shop. And people buy my portable router table plans with the fence. That's included in it. And people have been asking me to sell plans for my flattening jig, and I haven't. And I always say to them, I would like to, but it's going to be in this book. So
nice. Okay,
Yeah.
so
I was psyched to hear that you're doing
first of all,
the maintenance
let me know
aspect
when
stuff on the routers.
it's important, right? So there's all sorts of different things I thought were important. And one of those is making sure you clean it out to call it, make sure you check it, I had a router bit actually. And one of the things I talked about in it was I was using my router, and when I started it, it was shaking. It was violent. I was like, what is going on? And so I turned it upside down. I turned it on, and I could see the bit rotating at the tip out a little bit. So I checked it, and I showed this router bit actually in the thing. You could tell that it is not, I don't know, it's perfectly straight, square, whatever you want to talk about. You can see it coming off a little bit. So I talk about that. And I think that, and I also talk about the worst thing that ever happened to me with the router, which is why I like the rigid routers that I do. And the worst thing that ever happened was I was using a metal template, and I was cleaning out the piece, and I picked it up while the machine was still running, and it hit the edge of the template, and it jumped out of my hand. And somehow or other, as it jumped out of my hand, the cord stayed in my hand. So I instinctively closed around it. So I'm holding the cord of this router as it's running, and it starts spinning centrifugally around because, and it catches my shirt, and it starts coming in towards my stomach. But the rigid router has the on-off switch on the top. So instead of having to find an on-off switch, I was easily able to, as I'm pulling away, just smack the top of it down and turn it off. I think I just threw that shirt out the other day because I've had it it's been at least 8 years that I've had this, and it had that rip in it. And it was just, you guys' face says it all right there. It was coming towards me, and I'm going, ah!
That's one of those moments where you need a few minutes to process what happened, I'm assuming. That was probably, you probably need to change your pants after that as well.
Yeah, that was the end of that day. I did not continue on working. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah. But
That's
what did you do to get back up on that horse though, to not stay scared of it? Or are you still scared of that happening again?
I love routers. No. So let's see. 2-3 years ago, I chopped the tip off of my thumb with a razor scraper. It was my fault. I had my hand downstream of the scraper. It slipped off what I was scraping. I had a bandage on the tip of and there's still a mark there. I had to literally regrow everything. My son talks about, I went into the house and he held pressure on it and he could feel the divot from the missing skin. When the next time I needed to use the scraper, I picked it up and I was like, okay, I need to be careful. It's just one of those things. I knew it was my fault. So that just meant that the next time I did it, I just made sure that I was following all the proper procedures. I made sure I double checked myself. I still, one of the things I still do to this day is if I'm cleaning something out, I will make sure that it stops or starts before I try and pick it up, because I know not only, even if I'm going out of wood, I know that what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the sides of it and I'm going to screw up my cut. Mm-hmm. So it was a learning experience for me. I will say I was not worried going back at it because I knew what I had done wrong and I knew it was my fault. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love routers. They're fun.
Yeah. I think, gosh, I'm trying to think of, I had a couple of blunders. One, I know I talked about it where I was doing a flush trim of, it was like a 3-inch diameter hole, in I can't remember how thick the walnut was, maybe 2.25 inch. And so I had the router jump on me on that one, and I actually had video going of it, and I slowed it down, and I didn't realize how far, because this flush trim bit's 2.5 inches long.
Yeah.
And I'm just manually going over it, and it jumped I think the tip of the router bit actually came out of the hole. I didn't realize it popped up that high because it's just so fast, because that's what happens because those routers are they're turning so quickly that things happen quick.
Our old Hazan, the singer, I'm Jewish, so the singer of our temple years ago, I haven't been to temple in years. This guy actually died. I saw him, we were talking woodworking. He had an old shopsmith in his shop. Like he was making, I think, a grandfather clock, and he had all the parts for it. It was one of those that you buy the templates and make it. And I saw him one day, and he had a bandage on his thumb, and he was like almost a splint all the way up his arm, and he had hit it, and it had jumped off the template, and basically the router had run up his arm and just dug. Yeah. I mean, he just dug in, and he was showed me all the stitches and everything. So it was bad.
I was wearing a baggy shirt once when I was doing some routing on the router table, and I had leaned over to turn it off, and right as I was turning it off, it caught on the shirt and wrapped it up. But luckily I was turning it off, so it had probably got about 5 wraps before it ran out of torque, but it was enough to go, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tuck that shirt in from now on.
And that's one of the things I talk about in the book, is not you doing that, but rather the need to be careful and look out be careful what you're doing, follow proper protocol, right? There's so many different things that you get used to and you get comfortable, and you say, I don't need to worry about this because I've done this 100 times. And, it's just a matter of always pay attention,
Yeah. Complacency gets the best of us.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cause I know, cause I will run. So the router table that I have, that sits outside and blocks the garage is like 6 foot by 12 foot is like the workspace of that one. And so I use for like big slabs that I'm flattening. And so I get big honking flattening slabs, flattening bits for that one. And so, cause I have a healthy respect for like routers. I always have. Like my shop teacher in middle school, like put the fear of God in me about routers, because he was like, yeah, if I can't remember if it was a true story or if he was just saying like an example where it's like someone like their finger went in there for a second and it's already got like 8 marks on their fingernail from just like in like almost a blink of an eye. So I've always had a healthy respect of routers, and so that's one where like I started off with some slab flattening bits that were like, I think they were maybe 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches in diameter. And as I got more comfortable with how to use them, I eventually got larger ones. I think the largest one that I have that I run now is like a 3.5 inch, and they're all carbide inserts. So I've gotten accustomed to like, all right, this is what I need to do. Like, this is how much I can take off on each pass, like how much depth as well as how much step over that I need for it. So I've gotten comfortable as I've like tested and figured out what works and what doesn't, and like a couple of different wood species. Although most of the time I'm flattening walnut, but like I'll do some like ash will pop up occasionally. But the one thing that I had with one of those carbide inserts, it was like a 3-inch diameter bit. I cannot for the life of me remember. I'd have to look back, but what happened, I don't know if when I switched or twisted the carbide insert to the next 90 degrees, so it had a fresh blade. I don't know if I didn't tighten it down enough, but I was like halfway through a cut or halfway through the pass, and all of a sudden it's just like jumping all over and stuff. And what had happened was it had gotten just loose enough that when that insert came around the next time, it actually cracked the insert itself. And it didn't like shatter into pieces, but there was like a chip or two missing and then a crack going through it. And fortunately, with the router sled setup that I have, because of like the rails and stuff, there's like 2x6s that is on that. So there's a little bit of a barrier there, that if stuff comes like flying out, like there's stuff in the way. and I didn't have it at the time, but I do now have. Technically, it's for dust collection, but I don't always hook up the dust collection because it's kind of tedious. But it has those brushes that go down vertically to kind of cover that up and help with, like, you run over a knot and you take a big old chunk out and it flings it at you or whatever, and it's something to get there. And I'll usually throw on my because I've got like a nice Calavera like turning apron, because it what makes it the turning apron is it goes higher on the neck. So like I'll throw that on because like stuff just happens, like things get flung out and what have you. So it's better to be prepared and ready for that stuff when it does happen.
That definitely scares me. Like the carbide tips, I always worry about those flying out at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're what's dangerous tiny ninja stars.
I think what's interesting is a router usually is one of the very first woodworking tools that any woodworker buys, and yet because they're so versatile, and yet so many of us don't know how to properly use them or use them improperly. I mean, Alex, my first woodworking tool was a router and a sander. I bought them both at the same time because I was flattening some redwood slabs to make some end tables. I was like, I'll flatten them and then I'll just sand them and call it good, because that's all you need, right? But it's, to me, it's very interesting how you can do things like that where you become so accustomed with them that you're using these massive bits, and you're using on these sleds, and you're making jigs for them to make so much else. So it's a gateway tool in the aspect that, you get it, you start working and you grow with that tool so much. But so many of those tools are the same ones that we're using still today. I still have that same router.
When it also becomes one of the easy tools to have multiple of, because you can set it up for one specific thing. Because I started off with the Bosch. It's like the 2 1/4 router that like
16,
everyone has.
17.
That's the one that I started off with. That's the one that I started flattening slabs with. I knew I was going to eventually upgrade, but it's what I had at the time. And so as I went through different operations, I got a router that was better suited for each of those jobs. So like for the slab flattening stuff, it's like a 3.5 horsepower Milwaukee. It's much beefier and can handle those bigger bits. And then that Bosch router went into that small router table that I have. It's the same, like the Bosch pre-made one that kind of has like a little cabinet and thing. And then I got a cordless DeWalt trim router for doing like roundovers and chamfers. So that's kind of like, that's my setup right now with routers, because I don't a whole lot. I don't do a whole lot of the like complex profiles, like OG stuff or anything like that, just because my work doesn't call for it.
Most of us don't.
Yeah, so because like for me, like I said, it's like chamfers or roundovers are going to be more common for me, so the trim router handles that.
Well, I mean, the trim routers today, not only are they much stronger than the other ones, the older ones, they're, they can handle stuff. I always love when I share videos of my flattening sled or my router table, and somebody always comes on and goes, trim router's not made for that. You're going to burn that up in 5 minutes. Like, dude, trim routers are on almost all CNCs, the beginning CNCs. You're telling me, it's fine. It will handle me going over the top of this piece 8 times. You're crazy.
I used to run Makita routers on my early Next Wave machine before I ended up getting a spindle. I burned up 5 of them, but each one probably put in 400 or 500 hours of routing work.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and you can you can do brass work with them too, because like, I mean, brass is soft enough that you can, if you need to do stuff there. Because the first time that I did that, it was for that chair class with Spagnolo that I did, where it was just a little roundover on a brass piece of the footrest. And so that was the first time that I had used a router for something that was metal. I was like, oh, this is nice. You have the right bit. You can do a little bit of metalworking when you need to for some of those like accent pieces. So it kind of like opened up a little bit of different ideas of what I could do with it, because like you said, they are good enough now. Like you can handle some of your softer metals and do just fine, especially if you get decent router bits. Cause like, I mean, I don't know.
That's a big thing.
Do you stick to certain brands at all? I mean, I know that I'll look at like Diablo's stuff quite a bit, or Freud. I mean, similar thing.
I haven't.
Yep.
You know what? I bought some of their stuff early on. I love Cody's CNC, Cody's manufacturing, the Jenny line. I have gotten incredible results with them. I really Highland Tools. I love their stuff, especially their monster bit, which is incredible. Bits and Bits I like some of theirs, and the Amana bits. I love the Amanas. When people always ask me for a recommendation for a flattening bit for my trim router, I always give them. So I bought a bunch of the cheap Amazon ones, 1-inch flattening bits, like $17. I was like, this isn't bad. I replaced it a couple of times. And then I tried the $35 one from Amana, and it honestly was such a huge difference in the finish I got from it. I was like, holy crap. And that was really opening my eyes to the difference in different types of bits. Oh, and in the book, I also talk about the different, brief, the fact that there's different coatings on the bits now and why those coatings are there. And of course, I talk about high-speed steel versus carbide tipped versus carbide, blades, and then the coatings and stuff. And like I said, man, I tried to put everything in there. Everything I could.
Yeah, for CNC, Cody's manufacturing bits are the best, hands down, in my opinion. But yeah, for normal routing, I'm with you, Alex. Freud, I use them for my roundover and chamfer bits.
Yeah, and I've shopped around between a lot of those brands that you had mentioned. Like I've got some stuff from Amana, I've got some Whiteside, the Diablo and Freud. I don't know if I have anything from Bits and Bits, but usually like what I'm looking for is so specific. Sometimes only one of those brands actually has that profile. Because there was one time where I had to do like this. It was one of the few times I've done like a specific profile where it was like a bead with a little channel in there that was very very specific, and I can't remember which one it was. It was either Whiteside or Freud that even had that, because it was like the bead was super duper small. It just wasn't very common for them to go down to that side, because it was a older furniture piece where they would have the smaller bead on there than you would have for a typical bit. But back to what you were talking about with surface finish on surfacing bits, because I'd found I use different bits depending on if it's just regular long grain versus end grain, because that cutting angle matters on your fit and finish. Because I have one of the Amana bits, it has those like low angle carbide inserts that come in, as opposed to like perpendicular. Like the perpendicular ones, they work just fine for like long grain, but if you're doing end grain, you want that blade to go across those fibers. Otherwise, you're just going to get a crap ton of tear out, and you're going to be sanding forever after you flatten it. Because I have used those cheap bits that you talk about, which, like you said, I mean, generally they work pretty well. And if you nick something or ruin it, they're cheap enough that you can just toss them.
Right.
So the bit that I actually use the most nowadays is it's one that's from Speed Tool, primarily because the carbide insert is turned so that instead of it's flat on the bottom, it's like at a 45. And so because it's coming in at that direction, you've got a little bit more support of the material. So when you're coming to the end of your board, you have less of the little like tear out or splinters that pop out at the edge of the board. So I like using that one a lot. But I mean, it's not that the other ones are bad. You just got to pay attention when you're starting the board on one side to make sure it's not
High Country
popping out and tearing out.
High Country, and that's I think I said Highland, I meant High Country. They have a big 3-inch monster bit, which I have a picture of that in the books too, with the carbide tips that way. That's a nice one.
Yeah, that's been my like favorite one out of all of them for slab flattening
Yeah, yeah.
for that purpose. But it's not like I'll still go to the Amana, like the one that has the cutters that are kind of that low angle for the end grain, because it cuts perpendicular to the fibers, so you get a better result from that. And that's from flattening many a slab and many a crosscut piece. Because I have had there were times where I got, gosh, was it I think they were yes, they were walnut crosscuts, and they needed to be flattened because it was part of this deal that I had with this person where essentially we milled up a bunch of the wood, and what we weren't going to use for one of their side tables that we're going to make, because I made a few items for them, I'd get to keep the rest of the wood if I flattened the cookies that they had. And those ones, a couple of them were like just coming down at like a very steep angle, so it was a lot of material to remove. And I have tried once in the past to use the chainsaw to kind of like try and true that up, but I'm not skilled enough with the chainsaw to keep like a super straight edge. So it's just easier for me to do more passes with the router sled, and just be patient with it, to work it down. But there were times where the cross rails on the gantry were like rubbing on the slabs, and I was it was a little bit rough and touch and go there for a little bit, where it's like I cannot, like, because some of them were so thick, it's like I had to raise up the rails with like essentially shims. And so I was just like, this is not what I need to do, but I just need to get through this because I need to get it done. And because like when you've got those large bits, if you're hitting your material and that's kind of like throwing it off kilter, it can dig into stuff. So you gotta be careful. So it was, I was very clenched as I was doing that. But now one thing that you talked about was cleaning the router bits. I'm curious, what have you jumped onto the ultrasonic cleaner bandwagon of cleaning, or do you prefer cleaning in a different way? I
actually have an ultrasonic cleaner, but I mean, I haven't used it for that. I have a little one. I'm fine with, I've used the, what is that stuff called?
Is it the CMP cleaner or like, Bow Shield? Okay.
Yeah.
Bow Shield's what I use.
That. Yeah, I've used that. Honestly, I'm good with simple green. For the most part, you can put it just in simple green, and brush it off. If it's bad, use the Bow Shield. I had a really bad, why can't I think of what it's called? It has the edges on it. You put it in, you cut it so that you can put a screw in it.
The box knife?
God, the word went out of my head. I'm not 52, almost 53 years old. You couldn't tell that, right? It'll come to me in 10 minutes. But anyway, I put it in the simple green and let it sit overnight, and it took the finish off of it, and it was bad. But I think those are fine. Microjig has their bit and blade cleaner, which I've used that too because it's kind of nice. It's got
I do have that.
Yeah, it's got little inserts that you can just put it right in the simple green. I like that. I really like it for cleaning blades because, before you would spray it, and I put it on tinfoil and then I would scrub it and everything.
I've done that.
Yeah. You're like, okay, just get it. But man, that thing is so fast for cleaning saw blades. I'm like, geez, couple of turns, you got to clean up. So anyway, that's my go-to. Yeah. What were you going to say, Duffy?
Actually, that was perfect because that's what I was going to ask. I said before we wrap up, I wanted to talk about maintenance. So that was perfect.
Are you putting a timer on us behind you there, Duffy? Is that what that is?
So when I turned that on, I set a 2-hour timer, and so that's what's left.
Yeah.
How dare you constrain me?
So in the book, I used, I think, both the Bow Shield because I had it and simple green. And here's the one secret. I'm going to take two things. I'm going to say, number one, what I always tell people, and I still stand by this every day. I stand by this. If you're going to buy a tool like a router and you've never used one, I always say go to Harbor Freight, buy one, And what I think is important for basically all tools is it gives you the chance to play with it and figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you think is important for a low price. Like, I mean, for the most part, you're going to be like, all right, this is shaking too much. Okay, I know that I need something better, but I need something with better handles. So for cleaning my router bits and stuff like that, I go to the dollar store and buy denture brushes because it's bigger than a toothbrush. The bristles are a little bit harder. They're still nylon, right? So they're great cleaning tools, even though I don't have dentures. I'll show you later. But, you know, it's a great thing to go buy, and it's easy thing to use to clean. So that's my tip is buy a denture brush from the dollar store and use that to clean with.
Yeah,
I really like that idea.
Yeah, because I've used just like the extra toothbrushes that you get from the dentist.
Yeah, I have too.
And those are decent. But I have used an old electric toothbrush, which is, I don't know if it works that much better because you kind of hold it in the right spot. So I don't know if it's that much better than like a regular toothbrush. But yeah,
the denture brush is nice. It's perfect. So yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours and 41 minutes, gentlemen. I'm sorry, I'm a talker.
41 seconds.
Oh, I'm sure he could make it 41 minutes if we let him.
We could,
or let me.
Yeah.
Oh, you too.
I think my wife would appreciate it if I didn't.
Yeah. Well, then why don't we move on to
Good news, everyone.
so maker news.
Hey, I got a book coming out in November.
You have a book coming out. I was about to mention that. What's the name of the book, and where are they going to be able to get it?
As far as I know, it's going to be available everywhere that you can buy books. As far as I know, it is router tips and tricks. Something I don't even know. I don't have no idea. I forget. I think they told me
whatever the publisher says it's going to be, right?
It's Fox Chapel Publishing. They actually did one of, I think, Albert Klein's books. They do all those crafting books. So I mean, it's pretty common, you know, spoon carving. So it'll be available everywhere. It'll be online too. I'm really, really excited about that. I think it's, like I said, it's not something I ever anticipated. So I'm excited just to have that out there and see if that leads to anything else.
If I buy 2 copies, will you sign them both? One for me and one for me to give away to our listeners?
Absolutely. You know, I'd love to do that.
Cool.
I'll get some free versions too, so that I can give away signed ones. So
signed digital version.
Yeah.
You could put it on a CD for an audiobook, right? There's an audiobook version.
Yeah. And this is Logan Newman, Router Tips and Tricks, Chapter 1. As a small child.
You know,
I don't know
you
why,
did that as a joke. I would listen to that.
I don't know why, but my head instantly went to, do you remember what was the NPR show where the guy's like reading the story?
That's exactly what I was going for.
It made me think of that immediately.
That's what I was going for. The sweaty balls one from SNL.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Other maker news besides Logan, we have Sparks and Sawdust in Alabama coming up March 21st through the 22nd.
I can't wait for that. I'm going down. That's going to be fun.
I think Evan said that he was going to that, I think. So you'll see him there, I think.
Yep. CNC Summit is coming up April 2nd through the 3rd. It's an online course, so you can go to my Instagram and click on the link at the top for tickets to that. Tickets are going up in price in March, so get the early bird pricing while you can. Yeah.
And then Midwest Maker Meetup in Omaha, May 16th is for that one. Those are the ones that are coming to here that's technically spring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we'll call that.
Maker News, April 3rd. I'll be 53 years old. That's, big Maker News. Everybody wants to know that. Please, in lieu of gifts, send money to Bourbon.
I'll make sure to send you a bottle.
Oh, for my birthday last year, Microjig sent me a bottle of scotch. I don't drink scotch, but it was very nice of them.
Boo-hoo.
And I look out on my yard, on my front stoop, And I see this container from Microchip. I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I pick it up. I'm like, "It's moist. Why is it moist?" And I bring it. Yeah, the bottle. It was in a cardboard, and they wrapped it, but it was still just like wrapped in bubble wrap. So it got smashed, and somebody else got all the scotch. I got all the glass. So.
Oh no!
So you weren't like licking the outside of the box for just the sweet.
No, Scotch. I'm not a Scotch drinker overall. I like
extra peaty, right? With the cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you did you let them know, or did you just be like, "Oh, that's a great bottle"?
No, I was like, "Thank you guys." Unfortunately, and then they did not send another bottle.
Oh, well, if you want to make up
them that you were going to drink
send him a bottle.
Yeah, my wife buys me a nice bottle every year, so I can't complain. I try to make it last longer than 3 weeks, which is not always easy. I'm not drinking it like it's just you have a small drink at night.
Yeah.
Or every couple
that's
nights,
me too.
and you're like, okay, it's gone already.
Helps with the teething, right?
Yeah. Or at my age,
it just helps with the aging.
Teething. Yeah. I may need those denture brushes soon.
Well, you'll have a good supply on hand.
Yeah, thankfully. So anyway, I don't know anything else making news.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening so much, and until we talk to you again.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Remember to brush your dentures.